Hello, this is Dick Warlock, Michael Myers from Halloween 2, and you're listening to the Tim Owen Harley Show.
Welcome to the Tim Owen Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Tim Owen Harley Show. I am Tim O. Over there's my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Brainy Hands Harley.
Yeah.
You got brainy hands making weird things.
Yes, I do.
Now, hold on. Now you're onto boats. We started with birdhouses, and now we're onto boats. Mr. Ben Harley, are we going to start giving away tickets to a Deep Thinkers cruise down the Maumee?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay. They're going to get larger as they go on. This one we couldn't fit but your foot on. But yeah, we're going to we're going to make them a little bit larger for our cruise down the Maumee.
So they're like water skates?
Yeah. Well, this is actually a birdhouse, though, my friend. Yes, this is Jaws Birdhouse.
Gotcha.
Well,
okay.
I shouldn't say Jaws Birdhouse. It's the ship from Jaws, the Orca.
Uh-huh.
And yes, my friend, it's more of a cartoony version of it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I actually enjoyed it. It started out as the Titanic and turned into the Orca ship. So I don't know what happened. Something happened along the way.
Well, they both sunk, so you're doing good.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly.
Now you're going to be selling these water skates. I'm still having a hard time with only your foot will fit on the boat. I'm like, wow, that would be
about
really
how big they are.
Okay, all right. So now you're going to be selling. So they are birdhouses. Even the boats are birdhouses, right? And so you're basically going with an aquatic theme. For your birdhouses, and you're going to be selling these now. Is it just Etsy, or are you going to go on like eBay and things like that too, or are you starting off with Etsy?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with Etsy and then go from there. But try to branch out. No pun intended. From there, I'm going to fly on over to wherever. Right. So yes, I definitely just want to get. I want to get 2 of them done at least, so I could get them up there.
Right,
and then I'm going to try to gradually work on more. But the thing is, I know once I put them up, which is good, and it'll be a blessing, is I have time making the ones that we sell, So I'd like to, it'd be nice to have maybe 3 of them up, but we're just going to go with the 2 for now and see how they go. But
Now, how are you going to find time with all of the T-shirt printing that,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, with all the spring sports and all the...
Right, so... The pandemic is Harley's business is one of those businesses that have been hurt. So this is what he is doing.
Yes.
He's taking his brainy hands and he's making brainy birdhouses with his brainy hands so he can sell them on brainy Etsy. And then what's your Etsy site again? For people
it's Killer Products.
Killer Products.
Where you can search Ben Harley.
Ben Harley? Okay.
Yes.
You probably also go to Ben Harley's Facebook page and stalk that and see if he puts anything else. I'll definitely be putting stuff on it. Okay. And Mr. Harley, I'm so ahead of the game, Tim. I just got on Instagram. So did you?
Yeah. So
millennial.
Yeah, I know. So it only took me, I don't know how that's been around for a while right now. Yeah. So it only took me so many years, but yes, I'll be putting some stuff out on there too, to get the people excited too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You've got them trapped in their homes now to get them excited. So
you gotta get the people what they want. Most of them got time now to feed birds and squirrels and things like that.
Yes, exactly. So
I have a small army of animals in my backyard at my command.
It's like a Disney movie in your backyard, right?
Oh yeah, yep.
So
Ace Ventura.
Ben walks out the back door, zippity doo dah, zippity day, and they're all flying around him, and the chipmunks are
humming or singing right along with me.
Right. Well, go ahead and check that stuff out.
Thank you, Tim.
Yes.
Yeah. And all kidding aside, it's been a lot of fun to do, and I think people will like them. I really do. Mm-hmm. And hopefully the birds like them. That's the most important thing.
That's the point, right? Now, do these birdhouses have running water?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Plumbing. Yes, the plumbing is good. We got. I think we 220 inside. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, we're doing good, right?
Very good.
Ceiling fans.
Yeah, pre-wired for internet and phone and everything. And
yeah, for
good.
Sure.
Good,
Sure,
excellent.
yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah. All right. Well, I see them as water skates. Harley's got Wi-Fi hooked up inside the damn thing. So what do I know? But all right. Well, yeah, check those out.
Yes, thanks,
I'd be promoting my movie page on eBay, but I'm not really exactly sure how I would do that or how you get to it. Like they kind of gave me like a screen name, and I don't even know what it is and everything. But I have been doing pretty good though during this thing too. Selling
you
some
did
flicks.
ship some out today, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
what ones did you ship out, bud?
Well, we used to sell them when we do shows at the tables, and then I was helping Bob, and I was kind of bringing a little box, but I just felt bad because Bob's selling movies too, and I guess it's like direct competition to the guy I'm helping. So not sure that
move
works.
over, Bob. I need some more room.
And I did say that I think a few times, and I'm sure you got pleasantly annoyed by that. But
yes,
it just I just saw. You know what? I just stick them up there, and you know what? They're hard to carry around.
Yeah.
Too and stuff. So it's like, let's just do this on eBay, and it works out pretty good. If you start adding up the cost, because I ship these things pretty good. I put them in nice bubble mailers and stuff, so it costs a little bit, but I don't know. One man's junk is another man's treasure, and most of this stuff I have on Blu-ray now, and these DVDs, some of them are out of print, and there are some collectors who just collect copies of things, like of a certain film or something, and I do have some pretty rare DVDs and Blu-rays of stuff. As a matter of fact, a couple of the newer Blu-rays I've just gotten over the next month, as soon as they were released, like I pre-ordered them on Amazon, they went out of print because there was only a few thousand
Good job,
made.
Timo.
Yeah. Well, they're starting to do.
Thanks.
They're starting to do limited releases of stuff.
Okay.
I'm not even aware of this until after I get it home. Until after I get it received, I'm like, I wonder how much. I wonder if I overspent. That's what I always think. Like I pre-ordered this. Should I have waited? For it to come out, and then I'll go look at it. I'm like, oh no, it's out of print. And then you look at the fine print on that page, and you'll see like 3,000 made, 2,000 made. So tell you what, Mr. Ben Harley, it's an investment.
You're doing, I tell you though, buddy, you got. I said you're a curator.
I
first
am
and foremost, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just trying to keep, keep the spirit alive with others, right?
Mm-hmm. Keep being nice, and I'll remind you, I got Jaws 4 on Blu-rays.
Oh boy,
Revenge.
Yeah, okay.
All right, moving forward.
Reminding me to be gone when you sent that.
Right. So we will not be showing that film on the Deep Thinkers cruise, on the water skates cruise that we're going to have coming up here. And hello, Deep Thinkers, and hope you are all being safe and friendly to each other out there.
Yes.
Let's see. I got a few things we watched. We have had time.
Lay it on me, brother.
Have had time.
Yeah,
now.
you have. You had a little bit of time.
Honestly, though, it has nothing to do with this pandemic. I'm just more busy now because of where we live, and I am a work at home, stay at home dad kind of guy, and so we have, as I ad nauseum remind everyone, 8 acres of wooded land.
Yes, sir.
And I also take care of the bush honeysuckle because my dad, over the last decade, has obsessed over taking out the invasive species out of the woods.
The honeysuckle.
The honeysuckle is that. And then now what's rearing its ugly head, Mr. Ben Harley, are blackberry bush. Now, if you know anything about those, they happen to also come, not only do they fruit, which is wonderful, but they also come with thorns.
Ooh.
Lots and lots of big prickly thorns that, like, when you're pulling them out of the ground, happen to reach around your back and attach to your skin about a quarter of an inch into your skin via the thorns. Ow.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of that and just regular stuff around the house. So I've been busy as hell, but I have gotten some things in, Mr. Ben Harley. I have been able to watch because
have been able to watch.
Yeah, well, at 4 or 5 o'clock comes around after I, if anyone in the house is lucky and I bathe, like after I do this kind of stuff, then I sit down and I'll start watching stuff. So here, let me roll through this stuff here.
Yeah, lay it on me, man.
Now, just to kind of connect with your aquatic water Water skates, yes.
Water skates,
yes. Yeah, your birdhouses. I also...
they're going to be the rage, Tim.
Well, hey, now, hold on now. I also
skates.
watched a film. I went on a freak out, Mr. Ben Harley. A 2019 freak out, okay?
A 2019
2019 freak out, yes. And watched 2 movies back to back.
From 2019?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
The first one happens to be The Lighthouse.
Oh,
there you go.
That one we talked about with...
this is Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson.
The new Batman. Yeah.
Yes, and this is the newest film directed by Robert Eggers, who did The Witch.
Okay. Later, well, I wanted to see this. Is it worthy of...
It's on Amazon Prime for free.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
You got to watch this stuff. I don't tell you everything that comes up.
I know.
So you got to pay attention to stuff. So, yes, it is for free. An interesting thing is it is shot in a 1:19 aspect ratio, which is more narrow than full frame. So it actually almost looks like you're filming it with your phone up, instead of it being long. Yeah. So that's interesting. It's almost a perfect square. They definitely they make every effort to make it feel like an old film.
Yeah,
that way.
Yeah.
The acting,
because it's supposed to take place in what's the time?
I think it was the turn of the 20th century, like around the 1900 or so, based off of a true story about these 2 guys that went out to, I think it was off of around Nova Scotia or something, and they were they got trapped in a lighthouse. They were lighthouse keepers, and before they could get relieved or provisions or anything, there was a freak storm that kept them out there forever.
Yeah,
and one of them passed,
and it's pretty bleak out there.
Yes. And then writers like to take the story and throw in a little supernatural Hoosmifudge in it. You remember The Witch? Did you see The Witch yet?
I dabbled in it, and then I kind of just I really it didn't hold my attention to. I need to go back and kind of watch it. I tried. It was one of those Saturdays. I tried to watch it. Mm-hmm. My daughter, not with her, but she,
No.
It's that kind of. So I couldn't really.
Yeah. What I remember about that movie is that the acting is incredible. Yeah. The authenticity of the period seemed. I was not born in 1494. So it seemed extremely authentic from what I was seeing. Usually if you see tools and things that you've never seen before, you usually say that must be authentic because I've never seen that before. And no one just invented that for this movie, I don't think. So that scythe-looking thing must be an old-time tool. So it's one of those deals where you're fascinated. Yeah. Well, you're fascinated by what you're seeing and everything. And then, so there's a bit of that with the lighthouse and how they're running the lighthouse and what they have to deal with given the time period and their circumstances and stuff. Yeah. Acting is incredible. Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe. He always is wonderful. Pattinson is... He's holding his own. He might be a good actor as time goes on. I mean, he might be one of those guys. So, I mean, it's okay. I'm all right with that. It's just sort of like you have to want to sit there and watch a painting. Yeah. You have to. It's a piece of art. And it's going to be a little vague. And I think what people have problems with these movies is they're just commercial enough to drag you through the movie. They just have enough of those moments. And then it's over. And then you're like, what? It's like you're seeing this movie like it's a popcorn movie, but it's not a popcorn movie.
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy it just for the artistry of it and stuff. The acting is very good. It's not like you don't understand what's happening. It's hard to understand what's going on.
Because it looks bizarre. I mean, the trailer that I saw was really bizarre, but it kind of looked more like somewhat of a ghost story with those guys, or a descent into madness.
It's a descent into madness.
Yeah,
it's a descent into madness, and it brings you with it though, because the problem with some of these movies is that it brings you with it because it's showing you what these guys are seeing. Is what these guys seeing real or imaginary?
Right.
And it leaves that interpretation up to you, and it's very quick things and very vague, and right when you think, is this going to be a monster movie? It sucks right out and says, no, not really.
It's going to be something else.
Yeah, it's an interesting film.
It's worth a look-see for.
I think
right?
so. It's
for
worth
me?
a look-see. Yes. Now, if you are someone
I don't
who
care about anybody else,
right.
Just me.
Well,
I'm just joking.
if you sit around and sweat bullets a week before the Avengers movies release because you can't wait, you might as well just stay home and keep your brain safe.
Right.
Or we're all staying at home. You might as well stay away from that stream and keep your brain safe and stick with the nonsense over there, because this is. I don't want to call it a thinking man's movie because that's insulting to anyone on the planet.
Sure,
I'd say it's more of a dreamer kind of movie, in a way.
Okay.
We all think, but this is I don't want to say a deep thinker. That's not fair too, because as far as I'm concerned, The Giant from the Unknown is a deep thinking movie. Right.
The mole people.
Anyway, but there's my take on it. So you give it a look. See, it is on Amazon.
That's good, Timo, because I was getting nervous you were going to poo-poo on it.
I'm not going to poo-poo on it, but I think you're going to have the same.
And it's not that you and I can't, it's not that I still couldn't enjoy it or whatever, but I'm glad to hear you. A slight recommendation for me, you know what I mean? Well, so, because that looked super interesting to me. Like, that's the whole setting, all that to me was like, it just was Creepsville right off the start. So,
right. I think you'll like the authenticity of it.
Yeah, and I like Willem Dafoe, and I'm interested to see how this Pattinson does because he's the new Batman, and it's good to see that he's doing other things like this too, So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, like I said,
he is my favorite vampire.
My whole problem with The Witch was the end, and
that's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's like it. It's sort of like it answers the whole question of the film in such a, oh, come on kind of way.
Yeah.
It's not that it leaves you like wondering anything. It more like just says, no, give me a shinier answer than that. It can be the same one, but let's give me something. Not that. Yeah. But anyway, so this is, this isn't that far off from that. I'd say actually this is a little bit more of a vague of an ending. And the rest of the film, you kind of see what's going on. You kind of know that these guys honestly, it's not both of them going crazy. It's more Robert Pattinson.
Is it?
Going a little loopy. Yeah.
Because they would be out there you'd have to go out to these places for months and months at a time. You might be out there by yourself for, months and months at a time. Like us, and not seeing another person except for them on a boat waving at you.
Right.
Or something. Well, that's it.
Right.
You drive anybody nuts.
Supposedly this story caused the lighthouses to start having 3 people.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, because 2 is just a little more dangerous, that there would be.
Yeah.
Because of this head, because someone lost their marbles, doing this.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
Again, check it out and see what you think. Just.
Yeah. I'm really excited to hear that stuff because I've been wanting something new, and that just is right up my alley. Really.
Yeah. So moving on. Also,
thanks, buddy. Yeah.
From 2019, Mr. Ben Harley.
Gosh,
this is also on Amazon Prime.
Are you doing okay?
No, I'm not. No.
Geez,
Ready to open her back up. We shut her down. Let's open her back up. Yeah. So you got Timo watching movies that are a year old. Next thing you're going to know, I'm going to be locating new bridges and not being surprised that they exist. You never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Let's keep it real, folks. Let's keep it real. So I did watch, this is also on Amazon Prime. It is a film called Itsy Bitsy. Okay. And it is, it's a big spider movie. And it stars Bruce Davison.
Okay.
And Denise Crosby, who we've met before. Nice lady.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and,
I like her.
And Denise Crosby plays like a sheriff in a small town, of course. Bruce Davison plays some kind of... it's a historian type of guy, I think, or something like that. He's an older fellow, of course, and he gets a hold of via a third party, like an ancient piece of pottery, let's say, that might have something to do with rituals, ancient Husamafudge magic, let's say, legendary stuff. Well, basically what happens is the piece of pottery cracks open and a legendary giant spider comes out of it. So we're talking about a spider. It's a good-sized spider, though. Yeah. And what I mean by a good-sized spider is it's not Kingdom of the Spiders where they're just normal spiders. It's also not the giant spider invasion where they're Volkswagen Beetles with legs coming off of them. It's not that either. This spider is, I don't know, about as big as an area rug. So it's a good size to fight. It's a good size to be a scary movie spider or whatever. Unfortunately, the movie tries to be somewhat artsy and and kind of like psychedelic, but in like a 2004 kind of way.
Okay.
So it's sort of like, okay, it feels like it wants to be cutting edge with like its strange edits and you know what I'm talking about? Like the weird, I'm thinking of like music video type of looking stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And that was real big at the turn of the century. I'm thinking Marcus Nipsell, the guy that did the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where you'd have a steady shot edited in with shaky cam and then steady shot, and then you would fade out, and then there'd be like a kind of a zoom in from nowhere and just odd angles and stuff. And in reality, like, I just put the camera down and let's just tell this story. And the problem is that there's two kids and a mom, and the mom is, I don't know, she's like some kind of like recovering drug addict or something like that. And you're like, already you're like, oh God, she's a terrible mom. She's a terrible mom. You're like, oh God. And so they move in with Bruce Davison to be like his helper because he's getting old and he needs, help. He needs help. He needs a helper. He needs a caregiver, basically.
Okay, yeah.
And so even like those little girls, she's probably like 6. And there's a kid, he's probably like 12 or something like that. Well, even the spider attacks these people. I mean, so that's the cool part, but it's trying to be really hip. It's trying to be really hip, but it's really behind the curve. And I'm not exactly the hippest guy on the face of the planet. And this is like, this is way out of style. And it wasn't a good style to begin with. So anyway, unfortunately, it ruins the movie. It completely ruins the movie and it takes you out of it. So
now, is the spider all CGI and
No,
stuff?
not really.
Okay,
no, lots of practical stuff. And it's a little bit of a mix. I think there might even be some stop motion in there.
Really?
The spider itself, bravo.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
bravo.
That's
Spider's pretty cool. Spider is creepy. Actually, I like the spider.
That's usually the downfall.
You're right. You're right.
Too, so that's good to hear.
That's the best part of the movie is the spider. The rest of it sinks it, and that's how frustrating movies are these days, Mr. Ben Harley. Just you get a good spider, you get a good monster, and you can't make a fucking good movie out of it. And that's what it seems like is happening. It does seem like this is what's happening today. You get this great story, and then you get stupid CGI monster that looks like Roger Rabbit or Finding Nemo or something like that. Or you get this brilliant monster with this stupid story and filming technique that's been done a million times. It's been boring. It was boring then. It's boring now.
Yeah.
It's like,
and I'll tell you, some of that technique stuff, it'll take me out of a movie big time.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Or certain things. Or if it's just like really drab or just boring, like I'm like, oh man, this is, So that can really take you out of it big time.
Let's see, from 1959.
Okay.
Another one of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, nice. Yeah.
Watch the Roger Corman helmed The Wasp Woman.
Wasp Woman. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention because it was fun to watch, man. When she gets that like 1959 kids Halloween costume on with the little antenna and starts jumping other people, it's pretty funny. It's a good old creaky fun movie, good old drive-in movie.
Wasp Woman. Yeah, I like the poster art for that one.
It is good poster art. Yeah,
it's funny.
Let's see here from 1986. Mr. Ben Harley, watch the movie From Beyond.
Okay.
Jeffrey Combs, Ken Foree, and the movie that I almost fell in complete love with, Barbara Crampton.
Yeah.
Because the movie is basically a 90-minute Barbara Crampton striptease. She starts off wound tight as a knot.
Yeah.
And then, not Doc Savage, starts losing pieces of clothing and things as the story progresses. Yes, so she's a knockout in that movie. So that was fun. That movie was a good friend of mine when I was a child. Or youth, let's say.
On the rise.
On the rise is a good way of putting it. Yeah. On the yes. So moving on. Let's move on. From 1967. Watched The Mummy Shroud.
Ooh, The Mummy Shroud.
Now, this is the one where the mummy looks way too clean. And so it bothers me, but makes up for it with a big meaty role for our buddy Michael Ripper.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one where the mummy picks up Michael Ripper over his head and throws him out a window.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a great performance. I mean, it's one of the great performances in Hammer films, and it's Michael Ripper, which is very, very cool because usually those are Peter Cushing or Christopher Lee, getting those handed to him. Yeah, very, very good. So fun to watch that. I wanted to mention this, Mr. Ben Harley, from 1947.
You're going back.
Also on Amazon Prime, so you might want to. Good printing movie. Good movie to print. Watch Dick Tracy Detective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're putting back up the Dick Tracy movies. I need to watch the one with Boris Karloff in it. I got that one on my list. But this one was Morgan Conway playing Dick Tracy, and he's wrestling around with Split Face. In this one. Split Face, he's a dick. I mean, he's a murdering dick. He's like a serial killer type of guy before they had a term for that. So,
man, anybody named Split Face, watch out for that guy.
I like the old Dick Tracy movies, man. I can't stand the Warren Beatty one. I even bought it on Blu-ray a couple years ago and rewatched it thinking I was going to enjoy it. Ugh, God, it never got better.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It was painful when it came out, kind of. I mean, it had its moments. It really does. It does have its moments, but I haven't watched it in many, many years. But it doesn't hold up well. As bad as it was, it doesn't get better. It gets worse. Yeah, I'm sure. Exactly. Yeah.
So, Mr. Ben Harley, last up before I know you watched something I want to speak on real quick. So before we get to that, something that we were talking about off air before we started doing this show is there is another documentary. This is also on Amazon Prime. Got your pen out?
Yes. Oh, okay. Well, no, wait. Yes,
what the hell? We're doing a podcast and you're not prepared? You don't have a pen or nothing out?
Oh, I got my pen right here.
Flying by the seat of your pants? Come on now.
Yes.
All right. So on Amazon Prime, the new documentary called The Bigfoot Alien Connection Revealed.
The Bigfoot Alien Connection Revealed.
A lot of this is shot at Salt Fork. You can tell someone was torpedoing guests at Salt Fork at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference to get interviews. Anyone from Dr. Esteban Sarioba to...
Oh, yeah, he likes to hang out.
Yeah, so we got Dr. Esteban, everybody from Bobo's on there. Even got a Stanton Friedman on there. So we're really going the UFO route and the alien route.
I love Stanton Friedman. What do you say? All right, so
if they revealed the connection, it went over my head.
You still don't see it?
I don't see. But one of the most, this is not a positive, by the way, for this documentary. So I'm going to put it this way: one of the most compelling moments of the documentary is a little candid moment with Bobo, of all people, standing around the side of a building. I don't know, it might have been token or something. I don't know, and talking about how him and Renee and a couple of the camera guys were watching orbs in the woods. And also, another time, there was 2 times. There was another time he said that he heard footsteps like Bigfoot walking, what you would think you would hear, and then orbs, lights going into the woods. He said they were connected. He has no idea how, but they were connected. I believe I believed he believed what he was saying. I believe this was one of those moments where he didn't care if the camera was on. He was being a normal person, not an entertainer. Sure. He was just telling the story wow. It was almost like a compelling Bigfoot story, which you've never heard Bobo tell. So it was almost compelling because once he wasn't trying. Well, that's the point. For once, he wasn't trying to give you the answer for what he saw.
Yeah, right.
He was just, I don't know what that was because he didn't know how to go there. He didn't know how to go there and I'm not there. It's one of these things where, is there a connection? They really made a big deal about people who see these things and they seem to disappear in front of their face. Almost like turn on a cloaking device. They call it the predator effect.
Yeah.
Do I say that it could have a chameleon-like defense mechanism? Maybe, but we're treading. Look, when we talk about Bigfoot, we're already treading thin water.
Yeah, let's find out what.
And I don't think this is helping much. I don't want to really be made fun of about this. It's okay if people think it's a waste of time or it's not. It's not so, but I don't want some of these people on my side. I just don't.
No. Well, it's hard. Well, first off, you're talking about Bigfoot, like we were just saying. when you bring that up to people look at you crossways anyhow. You're like, oh boy, here we go. And then, so once you start going, and then there's the spacecrafts and all that other stuff, you might be better off starting off with aliens first before Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, with someone to talk about. Like, no. So I don't know, buddy. That's where I kind of leave the whole subject, man. At that
well,
point.
and I won't say we. I'll say I. I'm speaking for myself here. Obviously, you have an opportunity to speak for yourself too, if I allow you.
Yeah. So, you want to edit the show,
and I talk a lot.
Oh yeah,
but I'm already uncomfortable with the fact that people that we are friends with, firsthand friends, think it's more than an animal, clearly. And these people, I don't think they're crazy or any of that, but I have a hard time with that because I don't really know why they're so compelled to think that. I hear why they kind of think so, but I don't think I'm hearing it all. And as well as I knew that Bigfoot researchers hold their info close to their chest. I mean, they hold it close.
Yes.
I mean, even if you're a friend of theirs, they ain't telling you everything. Our friends are not telling us everything. And I don't know what they're not telling, and maybe it's because it does sound so crazy that you just can't do it.
Sure.
I had a hard time with Mr. Ben Harley. I really do. I'm uncomfortable with the whole thing. It's not that I don't. Of course, I believe in UFOs, just by definition.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
By definition, I believe in them.
Yeah.
They're unidentified. Their things are flying, and they're objects in the air. We've all seen. They're on the news. Military planes are following these things. This is what this is disclosure, by the way. Yeah. So all you alien people waiting for the day they land on the White House lawn, that's it.
Yep.
When they're showing you the black and white footage on the news, on the national news, with our fighter jets following objects, like the chiclet they're following that one time, then there's that spinning top it was following. I don't know what isn't.
And they don't know what it is, and they I forget what the names are for those. I actually just watched the thing on
Foo Fighters. That's what it used to be.
Yeah. Well, they had a different, like each one had an individual name too. There's some this might be something more recent too.
Okay,
same thing, like and military jets following them.
Yes,
and they don't know what it is.
No, so there's your disclosure.
They don't know what it is.
Right,
they get nervous, man. They do.
Right,
wouldn't you? I mean,
agree.
because first off, they're all about defense.
Right.
And then I don't know what it is.
Right.
I don't know. And so, Well,
it's like Stan Freeman says, no government wants you to pledge your allegiance to the planet. They want you to pledge your allegiance to them, their government. So they don't want to. Yep. Mm-hmm. So I that's fine. I kind of get that. That's okay. And then I do believe, yes, that is kind of disclosure. That's like, okay, we don't know what these things are. And I think that is what they haven't wanted to say is that we don't know. I think at this point, people are looking at them like, we know. We get it. There's something going on, and we don't get what it is. But
I don't think they think we can. We have our big boy pants on that we could take it. I don't think some people could though. There are some people that couldn't. I really don't think they're. Right. But who knows, man? I don't know. I mean, a full disclosure.
Sure. Well, I'm. I kind of look at this thing from a broad sense, and it's like, okay, so. I believe, like we talked about Fire in the Sky last week, Robert. I believe, I know this stuff is true. I don't know what it is. It's sort of like the Bigfoot thing. I know it's real because it's a phenomenon. That's a real phenomenon. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the actual monkey man is a flesh and blood beast or not. It is a phenomenon. Therefore, it is real. Okay. Yes. So I don't know what either one are for sure. I don't. How could I know for sure? I have my own ideas and opinions, but they change and evolve over time. I don't know. I do have an issue with the connecting the dots that people are having between the aliens and the Bigfoot. What gives me pause and what bothers me is when I see people that they seem pretty reasonable and fairly intelligent and stuff, and they're really kind of like very articulate and explaining to you why they think this. And what really bothers me is it seems like the longer the researchers are in the field, the more they believe this shit.
Yeah.
It all bothers me, not because I'm like, oh, guys, come on. It bothers me because what is it you people are seeing? Because we and Ben know you're not telling us. And therefore, it makes you look crazy and you don't care anymore. So I get that.
Yeah.
But you're also making me and Ben look crazy, so I think we are owed some kind of explanation.
The other day, you and I have talked about this. I walked out back. I saw 4 deer at 11 o'clock or something during the day. Mm-hmm. But I almost looked through them because I didn't expect them to be there. And they also kind of blended in with what was going on behind them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you don't think a Bigfoot's even there, you're probably not going to be looking for one. You're probably going to look right past it. You know what I'm saying? I guarantee you without a shadow of a doubt, Ben Hardy's going to say it right here, right now. Most people who are out in the woods a lot like this probably have been in real close proximity of a Bigfoot or walked past one or even looked in the general area and never saw it. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I don't know.
Well, Esteban Soriento in this documentary I'm talking about, actually, he just said, I really honestly, when you think about it, just about everybody's seen a Bigfoot. Just about everybody has seen something they can't explain. You just put it in the back of your head. And since there's really nothing to bounce off of, you can't, everyone's going to like not believe you or make fun of you, even though they have their own stories. They have them locked in the back of their head. So for instance, I have things and you have things that no one can explain, that we can't explain. Yet, and I will fully admit this, and Harley will back me up on it. I'm only speaking for myself. The odds of you walking up to me and telling me a story and me believing you are low. Very low. Yes. I don't trust people very much. And I don't trust people I don't know telling me wild stories. Like, I don't know you. Why would you tell me this wild story since I don't know you?
Yeah. And I don't like you.
I don't like you. I mean, you're guilty until proven innocent to me. So I'm just being honest and saying that is true. Yes, that is true. I do have things I can't explain. You know my stories. I know your stories. But we know each other. I know you're telling the truth. And you know that I've got the same stories. I'm not making new ones up. That's the thing. I'm not making new ones up. These are my stories. This is what I got. You're the same way. And sorry, and Esteban was like, I think everybody's, and he's right. And that's kind of the point that I brought up when I was doing that podcast. Like, everybody has a story that nobody believes. And I have empathy for that. And so that's kind of what he was saying. And it's also kind of what you're saying too. And it's an interesting point. That we've all probably seen one and just not realized it. Or it was so fast you forgot about it, you put it away and thought, well, what am I going to do with that?
Yeah.
Well, right. Is it going to change my life? Do I still have to pay my bills? Yep. Well, fuck it. Yeah. Forget it. It's over. Yeah. It was unexplainable. It's over. That's the way life is. Well, some of us are interested in what that was.
Your mind also makes up for things because it's processing so much stuff all the time that there's some stuff you're just not seeing. You're just not.
Right. You know what I mean? I'm kind of with you a little bit too, that when people see these things disappear in front of their eyes, I'm not so sure. And again, we've talked about this in the show before. I'm not so sure it's that psychological condition that happens when your brain basically goes on overload. When you've seen something you can't explain, like when the Native Americans first saw like European ships coming toward the shore, that most of them couldn't see them.
Yeah.
Because their brain wouldn't process something they had never experienced before.
Yeah.
And so it's very difficult. And could some version of that be happening? Absolutely. I think so. But can I tell you that for sure either? No. And I'm not going to call those people liars any more than I'm calling anyone else because I haven't directly heard all these stories. I don't know. But I will say one thing. I'm pretty sure it's things like that our friends are not telling us.
Yeah.
And there's also the one where they're more human than animal. And I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Ben Harley. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. And my thing is, I don't really want to believe that it's an alien. I don't. I'm sorry. If that makes me selfish, then I'm Mr. Selfish Bigfoot guy. Then I am. I would love to think that there's from here still, and that you're just undiscovered. They are discovered. Really, Tim, they are.
Right.
I mean, all the evidence that we have, you tell me that if there was a undiscovered snail, we found all the evidence of it that we found in Bigfoot, they'd be saying, oh yeah, it's there.
Right.
It's there. They would. So, but you know what I mean? I don't know.
The evidence test for anything but a Bigfoot, yes, has been satisfied. Yeah. And that's bothered a lot of people too. It's about a lot of people that people are like, it's what Bender Nagel used to always say that. He's like, well, if you see scat, if you see tracks, and if you see food sources, then you say that animal is here. Of course, that's not the same with big. And he has a hell of a point. He's got a hell of a point.
And that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Right. Except for, I guess the right people with the right credentials haven't confirmed this or whatever. And then you start getting into conspiracies with the logging companies and they don't want endangered species. And who's to say what's endangered? That's the other thing I have too. It's like, how do you discover something? Why do you immediately think it's endangered? What if the population by definition is smaller?
Yeah,
it's just a smaller.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a smaller population. I mean, I don't know. And these are all cans of worms. That you
these are the people. Yeah, and these are the people, Tim. Like I said, that they are so okay. I love science, Tim. You know, I even occasionally like the mad scientists. You know what I mean? It's okay, but I don't. That is their religion. It is, and they want to, talk about religion and things like that. That is their religion. It's hard to break them from that. It really is. Mm-hmm. And like I told you the story of, we don't know where great white sharks mate. We have no idea. It's one of the greatest mysteries of our animal kingdom. But the scientists, have to find out. Why? Because they need to be there to help. What do you mean need to help? They've been doing this for millions of years. And you're telling me they need our help?
We have.
Yeah. So, no. No. Right. So I just, Tim, it's, man, I don't know.
Well,
I really think if I was a scientist, this would be one of the greatest discovery of all time, man.
Right.
One of them.
Right.
Yeah, one of them. I'm sorry, not the greatest, but one of them. And why not?
Right.
Why not? Well, you know why, Tim? Because there ain't no money in it.
Mm-hmm. Well,
there is to make a television show, but there isn't if you're going to go in academia, which can suck it, and then there's no money in it there.
Right. Well, we had I guess our friend Cameron Scott.
Yeah. Good old Cameron Scott.
I don't know exactly what he's doing, and this is not for me to talk about. This is all about entertainment and other people's business and stuff. But he asked me to get him started on some Bigfoot research, and he said he's a skeptic. He finds it fascinating. Yeah. But he's just not. He's not buying really or whatever. So I basically said, well, on some level, you're talking to a guy that you're asking me to give you 20 years of research in a text. Yeah. I cannot do that. So I said, read books by John Green and Grover Krantz. Those are the two of the old Four Horsemen. And actually, it was the two old Four Horsemen. I can remember their names right off the top of my head. And I said, go to the Patterson Gimlin footage. And I said, look at the arms. I said, look at where the hands are below the knee, and look at where
the shoulders.
Yes, and the bend of the elbow, and then tell me that's a person.
Yeah.
I said, we're programmed to think that looks silly, and it does. Because we're programmed that way. I think it looks silly. Don't you?
It does.
I mean, let's be honest with people.
At times, it really looks, and then sometimes it goes back and forth.
It looks like the Three Stooges monkey, man. I mean, it really does. And then you look at the Three Stooges monkey when you're watching Three Stooges on MeTV on Saturdays from 5 o'clock to 7 at Central Time. And you realize, wait a minute. There's a webbing under the armpit.
Yeah.
There's the bend of the elbow is lower than a human's, and its hand is opening and closing, therefore confirming it's not a stick with a pulley on it, right? With the old special effect thing where you're opening your hand, the old American Werewolf in London hand thing. They're not doing that. You can't, and then the head turns.
Yes.
So it can't be shoulders mounted on top of someone's head. So because the head turns. And this is even in our films talking Bigfoot. I'm trying to explain this, and it's edited pretty funny because I'm not getting the point across at all. But that is what I'm trying to explain, that that you can't. A human isn't built that way. They're 4 feet, 5 feet wide, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you get people like take a ruler, man, and measure your own shoulders. Yeah. I mean, Andre the Giant, I don't think was that wide. So it's like, and he was taller, I think. So this is bulkier.
Yes.
It's just, and so I said to him, explain it to me. I said, spoiler alert, you can't. It can't be explained. There hasn't been an explanation for it. Okay. But the other thing I warned him is this: be careful. It's a rabbit hole.
It is.
It's a rabbit hole. If you actually start looking into it, it's a rabbit hole, and you got to be careful because you start going, wow. And it's just little things like that, Harley. And you know that it's a Patterson film, and you know it's that arm and that head. For me, on that footage, it is, and I can't explain it.
Yeah, the shoulder. There's a shoulder blade for me. I'm like, there's just no way, man. Like, there's not, especially back then. I mean, it wasn't. There's the mechanics of it, and I know the one they talk about the hernia or whatever. No, but I still
don't believe that either. Yeah, that's film.
But the muscle movement is still wow. Like to me, is wow. It's impressive.
Right. Well, you know what?
Impressive.
Yes, it looks silly and a bear looks cute.
Yeah,
but if I saw either one of those standing in front of me in my woods, I'd probably, as you would say, Mr. Ben Harley, one of your favorite lines, I'd probably make lemonade in my pants.
I'd make some lemonade for sure.
All right, Mr. Ben Harley. Speaking of interesting things to look at, you have been watching now. We talked about this a couple years ago on the show. That there's a series, a wrestling documentary series. What channel is this on?
Vice channel. I do believe it's on Vice, my friend.
It's called The Dark Side of Professional Wrestling?
The Dark Side of the Ring.
The Dark Side of the Ring. And you said you have a couple of episodes or an episode that you just watched you wanted to mention.
Yeah, actually quite a few. Yeah, okay. I won't go too deep. But yes.
What we got?
What was I say, buddy? So there's been four episodes now.
All right.
And the first one, which is really one I wanted to watch and was very curious about, but also I didn't know I wanted to take this one on. And this was the Chris Benoit story.
Oh yeah,
about Chris Benoit and woman.
Yeah,
and then there's some and basically it was what I like about these though. It tells you a little bit more about them on the coming up stuff like that and things. It's not just like it just doesn't just jump right into it, which is good. This one actually was a 2-part series, and it was the first one of all of them. This being the second series, even of the first season, there was no 2-part. This was a 2-part one. I really can't comment too much on it, buddy. It does follow Benoit and then how he met woman, which was kind of weird because she was with Kevin Sullivan at the time, and he helped her get going and all that. But she did a lot of stuff too. She would do all the face painting for Kevin Sullivan and all that stuff too back then. So, and I liked
valet.
Awesome. Yes, she was awesome though too. She was not trying to dog Elizabeth or something like that, but she was 10 times the valet Elizabeth ever was, man. Or most of them were,
Well,
really.
Elizabeth was like a delicate flower. You're like, whatever. But woman would come out there like, she might scratch your leg or something.
Yeah, she might scratch the shit out of your face.
She looks like
and she was cute as the Dickens, man. She was a cute one too. Cutie. I love wrestling. I don't care for it, a lot of it anymore, and I haven't for many, many years. But I did like Chris Benoit. I watched Chris Benoit kind of come up.
Him and Eddie Guerrero had matches that still blow my mind to this day.
But yeah, it talks about those two guys and their matches, and they became like they were best friends, And I don't think Benoit ever recovered. But anyways. Yeah, it was hard to watch. So we're going to leave it at that because I don't really want to get into the part of him with what happened. I'll let you watch that.
His family. Yeah, that's fine. What are the other ones about?
It's sad. Oh, there's some other good ones. But, you got New Jerk from ECW. The next one, which is a really good one called Brawl for It All. And I'll try to go real fast on that. And this is where another Vince Russo came up with the idea because he didn't like the guy Branson or whatever his name was at the time, or I forget who he was, going under. Anyways, he would always bully guys in the back, and he was like, I'll beat everybody. If this was real, I'd beat up everybody. Well, they decided to do a boxing match. And I remember when this went on, and it was kind of when I was starting to get out of the WWE
I remember this
stuff.
too.
I was kind of pretty much out of it anyhow, but I remember it going on and watching some of it. It was for real. And like when it goes through and how it just shows how much like this Russo had such a chip on his shoulder about this guy that he actually let this whole thing happen, and all these wrestlers got hurt and busted up, and basically that ruins Dr. Death Steve Williams. Ruined his career. He was done because they were supposed to push him, and they think he's going to win the whole thing. Well, the guy who didn't realize it was supposed to be a work was Bart Gunn, and Bart Gunn beat up everybody. Believe it or not, right? So actually beat up the one guy that Russo wanted. And this whole time, Russo's even to this day so excited about it. Thought it was the greatest thing of all time. This is bullshit what these people do to these guys behind the scenes. It's just awful, right? So you need to watch that one. The Brawl to End It All is just, man, because it has him and Jim Cornette on there. And I'm on Jim Cornette's side about this. That Vince Russo is a piece of garbage. Mm-hmm. He's a piece of garbage, and that really messed some people up. Messed a lot of people up. And then, so what they did is they put Butterbean. They brought Butterbean in there because Bart Gunn beat up everybody. So basically, to punish Bart Gunn, they gave him some boxing lessons, and man, that Butterbean went out there and just pummeled him in no time at all. And Butterbean, they talked to him. He said, it's not that these guys aren't tough. These guys basically you could pummel Butterbean if you wrestled him. You know what I mean? But it wasn't about wrestling.
Right,
and and he got pummeled. And I've seen wrestlers pummel boxers many times.
Right.
But
depends what the rules are.
This was a straight up boxing match. Right. He got pummeled. And that was it. They never pushed him after that or nothing. You know what I mean? Like disgusting. Just disgusting. Timo, it's very few things disgust me like the stuff that I've been seeing in these shows. I love watching these. It was really good. Now, there's been 4 episodes, so last but not least, Timo, and I'll try to speak not much on this, even though this one really hits close to home for me. And this was the Jimmy Snuka story. And this is about Jimmy Snuka and basically the murder of his girlfriend, which a lot of people didn't know about. A lot of people don't know about, and it actually happened in 1983 on his rise to fame, Basically, this show talks about him and the incident where he basically beat her to death, I think, or really the WWF and McMahon came in, made everything kind of go away for a long time. But Snuka, right before he passed away, they finally convicted him when he was 72. So it's like 2015, he was convicted for her murder. Because they had Don Morocco on this, and they were showing, like, Don Morocco's like, I tried. He's like, Jimmy Snuka's, I can't see him doing this. He's one of the nicest guys I knew. They had, what's his name, who became Fatu, but was the Tonga Kid back then. They were, they even rode in the car together that day before it happened. But just like, it made me kind of hate Jimmy Snuka again. And I'm like, I don't want to hate this guy. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Well, it's pretty interesting. So Dark Side of the Ring, and that is on, what was it, on the Vice channel?
Yeah, and it's very good. As far as the documentaries go, they're really well done. I've always been fascinated by the world of wrestling since the time I was a kid. And I knew some of the backstory to these things, but some of them I had no idea. These guys faded out of, and I wouldn't find out about these things until they died in a hotel room or back of a car somewhere or some shit, Right. Then you'd find out, But
I like stuff like this. I like to know what was going on behind the scenes when I watched.
Yeah.
Again, I did watch a few episodes of the first season, so I'm definitely going to get on that.
You'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it.
Watch the I'm sure you can stream all this stuff on their site. I mean, not these days. I think I have Sling TV, and you can go to old episodes and stream some of those. So I will do that and report
You'd
back.
Definitely be interested.
Oh yeah, I am. I will
report back on some upcoming ones.
All right, very good. So let's get to our official little film, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see here from 1983. The time that Jimmy Snuka was doing its thing. We have the Deadly Spawn.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, now, let me get you out, movie guy, and give you a very short storyline synopsis here, and then we'll talk a little bit about the Deadly Spawn. All right,
Deadly Spawn.
Alien creatures invade a small town, and 4 teenagers, along with a young boy, attempt to escape from them. Yes, not much plot happening in this movie.
No.
This is definitely a throwback to like the 1950s alien invasion, giant monster type movies or whatever, with a lot of 1980s gore thrown in just to keep things real. Now, you had asked me, does this movie have a sequel? I've seen this, blah, blah, blah. No, not really. Okay, so...
Oh, is there one called The Deadly Spawn?
Well, here, hold on. There's an alternate title that was given to the movie by producers or by distributors because the movie Alien was rumored to have a sequel coming out. Okay. So what they called it here's some alternative titles. So in the United Kingdom, it was known as Return of the Aliens, The Deadly Spawn. In the U.S., there was 2 other ones. Okay. The Aliens Deadly Spawn, Return of the Aliens Deadly Spawn.
Okay.
Those were 2 titles for the exact same movie. Okay.
Wow.
Those titles were given to them by producers, again, because there was big rumors going around that Alien was going to get a sequel.
Okay.
So therefore, they thought they could, just like the Asylum does today. They thought
Cash
they
in a
could,
little?
they thought they could fool people into watching something, making them believe it was something it wasn't, and they usually win when they do that, and then they upset people, blah blah blah. So, but no, this was actually the gentleman who made this was the only, directed by Douglas McKeown, or let's call him McKeon. Okay. This was the only movie he ever did. So these people, this is not a jump start to the career type of film. Well, yeah, no, hold on. I'm going to be fair here because it also was almost picked up by Paramount.
Really?
For distribution. Now, that would have turned this thing into something. That would have turned this thing. And before we laugh at it, I watched this movie and the entire time was thinking, if Paramount would have grabbed this or something, we would be looking at another Evil Dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we would be looking at here. Is another Evil Dead movie, a inexpensive, wildly somehow this works movie.
Yeah.
But that did not happen. It did not happen.
Because I mean, I don't know until I kind of swear we watched this before, but I didn't really remember much about the actual movie. But that monster looks, and I know it does kind of look a little bit like the Little Shop of Horrors monster a bit. But I didn't say, no, that's not it. I think I know this monster somewhere. It seems about so maybe it's something else that we watched that it just resembles this monster.
We might have reviewed this before a very long time ago.
Yeah.
I think we did. And maybe it was streaming under the title Return of the Aliens Deadly Spawn or something like that, and you're thinking of that. But the thing that I'm going to say, though, is that you're remembering the memorable parts of the movie because first of all, it's a micro-budget film. it really is. And it's not, I am not making fun of it. I'm impressed. This is one of those movies that there was no money involved, and it's impressive what they came up with. Yeah. But again, that's why I said it could have been an Evil Dead, because if you watch Evil Dead, it is an ugly, cheap little movie.
Oh, for sure.
But it works so well in spite of itself because of the talent and the energy involved. What this is lacking a little bit is energy, not the talent.
Bit,
This is a meteors hit the ground and then aliens are attacking a little town. Yes. That's it. There ain't nothing more to it. Yep. There's no reason to go on. So the aliens roost in a couple's basement, basically, and they kill the couple. Yes. And a kid goes over there. I don't know if it's supposed to be his parents, step parents, aunt, uncle. I don't know why the hell he went over there. It doesn't really matter. I can't remember. Yeah. And he goes over there and he finds their corpses, and the whole gore, the whole monster part is great. The monster looks really cool for a no budget thing.
Yeah, there's like there's a lot, arms and legs. And
heads. Everything laying around. And then, so there's a big monster and little monsters, little baby monsters. Little babies. Yes. And the basement's full of water. It flooded a little bit. Like that. So it's gooey. The whole thing is gooey. Yeah. It's goodfully gooey because
they look like little tadpole type.
Yeah. Or Night of the Creeps monsters. Yeah. Kind of like little things like that. So the kid is basically in this slaughterhouse of alien monster and body parts. Yeah. And I mean, it seems like maybe 45 minutes he stands there and stares at it.
I don't know. And he's a monster kid. He's a monster movie freak, kind of like the kid from the Funhouse.
Yeah, or or like Corey Feldman from Friday the 13th Part 4. Yeah. Yep, where he's like a little special effects kid, or he's like, he's very into Famous Monsters magazine. Yeah. I think they even thanked Forey Ackerman in the movie. If not, if he didn't have like a little cameo. But so you get this, and here's the thing: the monster's great. And one of the things that makes it look great is that it's almost all teeth, which is very fucking cool to begin with. But they keep that drippy, gooey shit all over it. And anytime the practical effects are gooey, they work. Anytime they're dry and rubbery, they don't.
No,
Watch The Thing with goo and see if you can find any footage of The Thing, the Carpenter one, without goo. Yeah. I promise you the goo helps. Okay. So
yes, it does.
You get all this great. I mean, it's almost like the filmmaker was like, okay, man, this all works really good. Let's film the shit out of it and make it half the movie. There's one scene of this kid just staring at the carnage. And you couldn't tell, was he trying to hide?
I didn't know they tried to be quiet.
Yeah,
like, I wasn't
tell.
sure because then he started to snap his fingers. Then the little ones got riled up. So I didn't know if it was like, yeah, he's trying, to be quiet, but he watches this whole thing unfold for the longest time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And it's too long, way too long. And then I'm thinking, well, is this kid gonna start like using this monster to eat people or something? Is he turning to the dark side or something? The way I was like,
right.
This kid's way too into this right now.
Well, they have some ominous close-ups too.
Because isn't this like not a bed and breakfast, but like kind of like that, or isn't there?
Listen. This is not a movie where I paid 2 hills of beans attention because I've seen this movie like 4 times, and I know there's no plot to it.
Yeah,
you're wasting your time.
It's supposed to be like a bed and breakfast type place.
It looked like a couple's house to me. Like they got up, and then there was it's real simple.
Yeah.
It really is just a meteor hits and ends up in a basement.
Yes,
kills the people who are in the house. The kid goes over there and looks, and then you also have a group of teenagers. This is a big trope here for these horror movies back then. So I guess it's the kid's older brother. Am I not mistaken?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So one of and they're really into science.
Nerds.
Yeah. So like conveniently, the kids who find the monsters and aliens are really into science and know things about chemicals and things of this sort. So they're well equipped to try to figure out what to do and what this thing is. Yeah. Of course they are, right? So the teenagers drag the damn movie down too, because they sit there and they try to get you to like feel for them or to introduce you to characters, give some kind of backstory. Who cares?
Yeah,
who cares? And then what makes it even funnier is that remember this is a no budget movie.
Yes.
So about 2/3 into the movie, we have monster carnage going on.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so the kids have finally discovered the monster. The monster's chase, and the monster is still great, by the way. I love the monster in this.
It's good.
It's making the movie. It is making the movie. I mean, this is great. And the acting isn't that bad for no budget. You can tell most stuff's in one take. There's a lot of flubbed lines and a lot of looking in the camera, but you can tell.
I think you're right, though. I just think the way it was edited is bad.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't really pin it down, but I think that's probably was it for me.
It's the script and the editing.
I enjoy most what they're throwing at me, but it just like when they would go back to that kid, and I'm like, oh my god, he's still standing there. It was painful. Right. It was painful.
Right.
But I'm going to say, like the first 40 minutes of this movie is really good, really good. I thought, and then it dips a little bit for me.
Well, it's almost like they knew it was going to be like only an hour long, maybe or something, and they had to shoot it up to an hour, and they really put, and I think that's part of the scene where the kid finds the carnage and they just hang on him. He's there forever. Is the fact that it's monsters. And they needed more time. They needed more padding in the movie, and they were like, we can't pad this anymore with teenagers being like unrealistic, dopey movie teenagers. We can't do it anymore. Let's just hang on the kid for a little while and try to amp up the suspense. Yeah. And they tried to edit it so that you understood what he was doing. I didn't understand what he was doing. I didn't know if he was scared and I think he was petrified so he couldn't move, or if he was trying to figure out like, can it see me? Can it hear me? Like you were saying, snapping the fingers, throwing a flashlight. He threw a flashlight, but you never really saw the monster react, so you don't know if it even. There wasn't much going on,
No.
But here's the thing. Again, I said this no budget movie, and then one of the greatest things in this movie that I think is hilarious. About 2/3 way through the movie, okay. Unfortunately, the girl who's playing Ellen got another acting gig. So she had to leave. So if you're watching this movie, a monster is chasing these people around the house. And all of a sudden, this pretty young girl shows up and, hello.
Oh, yeah.
I'm here to be in the movie, too. I mean, this girl comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, they
nowhere.
Let her in,
and she's in the house, and they grab her real quick and go, come here. And the first thing the monster do is make sure that she's wearing a little less clothing than what she showed up in. So I was on the monster's side. It pulled some of her clothes up. So she's going Doc Savage. She's going Doc Savage too. So the thing is, and then immediately the girl that played Ellen, she gets killed.
Yeah.
So it's funny because Angie and I were just when we were watching this movie.
Was a crazy part.
Well, when we were watching this movie, when the girl showed up, I looked over to Angie and said, somebody must have to leave. She's like, what do you mean? I go, somebody must have to leave the set because that person just showed up. I don't know where. And sure enough, I looked up the trivia. I was like, oh, yeah, that's what happened. She had to leave, so they had to replace her with this girl. And that's how they did it. Another girl showed up, and that girl died. End of story. That's it. Yeah. But that was funny. I mean, that was so obvious. That that's what I was like. Cause I
was trying to think. I was like, now wait a second. Did they talk about this girl earlier? Because she just did. She came out of nowhere, man.
Right.
Yeah, I'm glad she did. She was a nice addition to the show.
She was for sure. I thought it was kind of cute. Definitely cute in 1983 way for sure. But again, so the rest of the movie takes place with those kids, and there's really not. The movie actually doesn't really even go anywhere. You get the battle with the monster throughout the house, and then because it finally comes up out of the basement and chases them upstairs. Well, that's what I'm talking about, and that's when the girl shows up and stuff, and it's chasing around the house and everything. So that's great. That's a good parts of the movie.
It starts to amp up. It
does. It really does. It gets going, and then although it's a very unsatisfactory ending, story wise, from a horror movie aficionado like myself and you, let's say, what the ambitious ending shot
was awesome.
And here's the
thing.
Loved it. Here's the thing.
It kind of saved the movie a little bit for me.
Yeah, because it's really good, then it dips, and then it starts really getting good again. Yeah. And then you're thinking, it's over. This is dumb. And then all of a sudden, like that very last shot, bingo. That was a money shot. That was great. Yeah. And here's the thing too, and I don't know if it did for you. You might have been watching this on smaller television or something like that. But the miniature, it totally fooled Angie. I had to rewind the beginning of the movie.
I
was looking at it and I said, well, that's in the effects guy's basement. And she's like, what are you talking about? She's like, the house? I go, look. And she didn't get what I was saying. And I rewound and said, that's a miniature.
Yeah.
And she did not catch it. And the thing is awesome. I remember this film from Starlog and Fangoria magazines, especially Fangoria magazines because of the gore. Yeah. And I remember them showing stills of that miniature and the giant monster and stuff and thinking, wow, man, it's one of those movies, Harley, that I had to search for when I got older because I was like, wow, I got to see this. I got to see this. And I got to tell you, about 2/3 of the time, I'm very disappointed.
Yeah.
But not this time. Not this time because I thought the effects that were so ambitious.
They really were, man, and looked good too.
Yes.
And like they're with that skull and then the things are eating the skull and the body parts. And there's one part where the lady comes down, she takes with her husband. He's got his arm. He reaches his arm out for her, but it's just his hand, what's left of his arm. Mm-hmm. I was like, wow, that looked really good. I mean, it played out well. I was really impressed by the special effects.
Yeah.
Like, really. And then, like I said, I was kind of like, I enjoyed it. But then, like, the ending was like, okay, bingo, cool.
Mm-hmm.
It wrapped it up. But I did not really like some of the stuff was kind of,
Mm-hmm.
There was parts, I think, like you said, they were trying a little hard to fill things, but.
To pad it.
Yeah.
It seemed like, and then they were trying to make the excuse of suspense for the padding.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that they weren't sophisticated filmmakers enough at all. Not that there's many of them out there that can do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But it just was not, it was not working.
No, it didn't. It didn't work.
Well, and that's the thing. I think this should have been shorter, at least, if not, maybe a short. And I hate saying that because shorts never go anywhere. I understand why it wasn't a short, but boy, it would have been a lot better had it been a short, or maybe had they just gotten more money, which is easier said than done, I know.
Yeah.
And maybe did some more effects moments.
Yeah,
because
because there for a while I was thinking, is this thing ever going to come out of the basement, man? I mean, and then you see that they are starting to kind of, the little baby ones are starting to kind of take off and go out, into the world or whatever. But I just
to make their way in life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Go, little ones. Yeah. Be free. Yeah. But they, I don't know, Tim. it just was lacking a little something. I'm not going to say too much monster because I don't know. I just think it was lacking a little something else, man. I don't know. You know, a little more pizzazz.
Right.
There was too much stage patter or a little in between. Like, oh, okay. If that makes sense, I don't know.
Right. Well, I'm obviously referencing Evil Dead. And this reminds me a lot of that, just with the way it was filmed and the no budget and everything. But it seemed like where Sam Raimi would start, where he would be like, I'm an amateur filmmaker. I don't know what to do here. He would get this nervous energy and speed things up and make things frantic and frenetic.
Yeah. Yeah.
This tried to slow things down and get it suspensey.
Yeah, and it didn't work.
It didn't work, right? Because, and I think
I wasn't scared at all. That's the one thing about it. I wasn't scared for a second in this movie. Now there was like one or two jump tears, but they weren't even, you know, it's nothing shocking, except for what you were seeing as far as special effects, which I'm fine with too. You know, I'm cool with that as well. Well, but man, a little too much downtime.
I agree.
In
I
some
agree.
Spots.
I mean,
other than that, though, I liked it, buddy. I did.
And I think Angie O'Game agreed with me too when we were watching, because she was like, because we were like, what the hell is this kid doing? Leave, you know, or do something, or go tell somebody, or and there was that, and then that hurt it, and then there was a downtime where the kids were trying to be kids, and the teenagers were trying to be like teenagers, and that's kind of the moments that you see in newer movies where I say I don't want to watch people paying their bills. Right. We had a lot of that kind of stuff in there, trying to be like, and it wasn't, you weren't buying any of it at all.
No, and there was too many people at first too. There was way too many people at first too.
Yeah,
like, I don't really care too much. And,
right.
Like,
and then they die. You don't know who you're supposed to be following a little bit for a while. You don't really get it, but it's kind of clumsy. It's a clumsy film. But you know what? On a lot of levels, thanks to the ingenuity of the monsters and the effects and stuff, and they filmed that stuff great. The attacks from the alien were great. So it was almost like they needed another director and writer to come in to do the wraparound story stuff. And I see that in movies a lot today as well. So, you know, is what it is. But I'm gonna give it a great bape up. Regular. Because the ingenuity of it is just great. And every time I watch it, I do enjoy it. I do always get a little disappointed about the slow parts, but I forget about them because they're very forgettable. And when you're remembering, where you're like, God, I remember this, that's why you're only remembering that. There's nothing else to remember. And I know that well enough to know, like when you're asking me, was it a bed and breakfast? Harley, honestly, I wasn't paying attention to that part of it because I know it doesn't matter. I've seen the movie before and I know it doesn't matter. And I just wanted to watch the skeleton of the film, the meat of it. And that's what I was paying attention to. And I realized it needed a little bit more. It did need a little bit more. So had this had more, maybe if Raimi would have come on board and helped, you know, or did something like that, I think this would have been a classic.
It just needed that something else. It was just, there was no, like, I don't know. There was only a couple really good scenes that were like, wow.
But they were great.
But they were great. But like the in-betweens were just like, oh man, this is real amateurish.
Right. I agree.
Very amateurish. But,
I agree.
Yeah. So
what are you going to give? I'm going to give it just a...
I'm going to give it a great bape up too, buddy. Yeah.
Okay, just regs?
Yeah, just a regular.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right. Well, 2 regular great bapes up for the Deadly Spawn.
Deadly Spawn.
Very ambitious, low-budget film. That is probably not surprisingly, but yet frustrating, uneven in its script and its editing and stuff. But I tell you what, if you're a sci-fi monster fan and fans of old,
especially like 50s, 60s, but 50s more monster movie, you can't go wrong with this.
I mean, a few years after this, Critters came out, and I would argue that this was in that vein of movie. I
might like this better.
Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing with that either, but that was a bigger budget movie, and I think that this paved the way for a movie like that, showing that something like that could still work. And so, that's what you get here. So 2 great babes up. So, all right, let's get out of here. Everybody out there, all you deep thinkers, keep it safe and friendly out there.
Yeah, be good to each other.
Yes. Until next week, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Tim Owen Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.